As a detailer, sometimes it's just hard to know when to stop detailing. I want to make every car perfect. I created this detail because I don't want to be limited or to be in a position to say, that's good enough. I don't want to be held down by a budget. I want to clean and detail every bolt. I want the undercarriage of the car to be just as clean and shiny as the exterior paint of the car. That's why I created the Chicago Auto Pros detail. This is far from your normal everyday detailing. This is designed for very particular clients with very special cars. It's a show car, concourse style detail, and we're gonna spend anywhere from 50 to 100 plus hours cleaning, correcting, and preserving this vehicle. The price for this detail starts at $10,000. What we're working on today is a 2002 BMW Z8. In the early 2000s, you could find this vehicle for right around $130,000. But now 20 years later, this vehicle has done nothing but climb in value. The average price for a Z8 nowadays is around $200,000. This is the type of car that's worthy of this kind of detail. This BMW, by anybody's standards, has been very well maintained. It's a low mileage vehicle and the owner treats it like a vehicle of this caliber should be treated. It's far from the dirtiest vehicle we've ever had in the shop, but with this detail package, we're gonna be detailing things that haven't been cleaned since this car was built. This detail starts like every car that comes into the shop. It's gonna get a gentle hand wash, an initial detailing of the wheels, the wheel wells, and all the other exterior surfaces. Even after you wash a car, it can still feel rough to the touch. We're going to decontaminate the paint by using an iron remover and a clay bar. This will remove any bonded contaminants on the surface, like iron particles from the braking system. You have tar, you have sap, and you have other industrial fallout. These things are going to embed themselves into the vehicle's paint. The iron remover will work by dissolving the iron particles, and then we're going to use the clay bar to exfoliate the paint and take off all these other contaminants on the paint surface. This is going to make the paint feel really smooth. This is where it kind of stops being a normal detail. Me and Tadas, after we got done washing, we pulled the BMW onto the two-post lift. The next several hours we spent cleaning everything on the undercarriage of the vehicle. We wanted to clean everything we could possibly touch, including the exhaust system, the springs, the control arms, the wheels. We had 3 goals in mind when we were doing this, and that was to clean, correct, and protect every surface on the vehicle. All right, getting the wheels off, you can see, even we did our normal wash, you can see all the stuff that we didn't get with this wash. And the only way to get this is to get the wheel off and get in there and clean it underneath here. We're gonna clean the whole undercarriage. You can see this big rocker panel. It goes most of the way deep under the car here. And you can see all the tar and everything that just wasn't gotten with a normal detail prep. So I'm gonna spend some time and get every little piece, every little square inch of this car perfectly clean. We spent all that first day on prep and cleaning the undercarriage of the vehicle. And this was a pretty small car, and I just couldn't believe how many small, hard to reach areas there was to clean on this. I was hoping to have the entire undercarriage cleaned, polished, and coated at this point, but at the end of day one, we're already behind schedule. So it looks like we may be putting in some overtime. Day number 2, we continued cleaning and polishing the undercarriage components and suspension. Anything that was painted was polished by hand. Wayne and Will actually jumped in at this point to try to get us back on schedule, and I stuck to the underside of the vehicle and polished and repolished any bare metal. And then we kind of just took turns and went over each other's work, making sure everything was perfectly clean. We used a combination of tar remover, IPA, metal polish, and hyper polish to get everything ready for the protective coating. Dennis, our dent guy, also stopped in at this point. We had a small door ding on the side, on the passenger side of the vehicle, and every time he comes in, I'm just blown away of what he can do. It's crazy to see the dents that he can just pull out and just make vanish and disappear. By noon on that second day, we were ready to start the coating process on the undercarriage. Our base coating is going to be Modesta BCO 6. We chose this coating for a couple reasons. One, it's a high temperature coating. It's actually designed to withstand the high temperatures on the wheels and the brake calipers. And two, it's a sprayable coating, so it can cover all these little areas that we can't get our hands to. We also sprayed the wheels at this point and then baked them with the infrared heat lamp. This is going to accelerate the curing process so we can put our second layer of coating on, which is going to be Modesta BCO 8. The wheel liners and any other plastic pieces are going to get Modesta's exterior plastic coating, and any bare metal is going to get Dr. Beasley's metal coat. Getting the undercarriage done took most of day number 2. We did have some time to get the car off the lift and get a good start on the interior cleaning process. The interior leather surfaces are going to receive several applications of a product called Leather Teak. This is going to replenish all that leather, and it's going to get these oils back into it so that leather stays nice and soft. Day number 3's main focus was the interior of the vehicle. All the interior trim pieces had scratches and swirl marks on them, so we broke out the 1-inch polisher and carefully polished all those trim pieces, the dash, the doors, the center console, and the back of the seats. It made a really big difference polishing all those areas out. While I had the 1-inch polisher out, I also went ahead and polished the door jambs too at this point. So once we had all the carpets cleaned and brushed out, all the interior trim pieces were polished, and the leather was all replenished, we just had to protect everything. And we had 3 main materials that we were working with here. We had fabric, we had leather, and then we had the painted trim pieces. But we also had the metal sill plate in the door jamb, and there was also some plastic pieces in the door jamb, the air vents, and then we had the rubber seals. I've never really been dedicated to just one brand of products. I've always just had the attitude of just work with whatever's best for that particular situation. So with that in mind, we used several different brands to get the interior protected. For the carpets, we used a fabric protectant called G-Technique Smart Fabric. Modesta has a dedicated leather coating that we use on all the leather. The dash and the inserts and everything were all leather, so that's what we used there. For all the trim pieces, we used Modesta BCO 8. For all the interior plastics, like the air vents, we used Seaquartz Deluxe. We also used Deluxe on all of the rubber trim, and then Dr. Beasley's metal coats on that metal sill plate. Let's get the interior done, let's get the engine done. We need to get the trunk, fabric protection, and then we can start polishing if we want. And then at the very end of the day, let's do the coating on this last hour of the day. We'll do that, and then we'll let it dry overnight, and then we can come back and bag it in the morning. The engine compartment was not dirty enough to justify using running water to clean. While most engine compartments are perfectly safe to use running water to clean, we just thought going at it with a steamer was the more logical choice. And just like the undercarriage, it was just about getting a microfiber and cleaning and rubbing everything we could reach. Painted surfaces on the underside of the hood and the jambs were all polished out, and then we coated all the plastics with Deluxe. We noticed when we were doing the prep on the car that the fabric convertible top didn't have any protection on it whatsoever. With this fabric being exposed to all the outside elements, it can start to break down rather quickly if it's not protected. So again, we use G-Technique's Smart Fabric for this, and we let it dry overnight. Finally, it is day number 4 and we're just getting started on the exterior of the vehicle, and we can start polishing the paint at this point. This is the difference maker when it comes to detailing. Making the paint perfectly smooth, getting maximum gloss, and getting that mirror-like wet look. This vehicle has silver paint, and silver paint does a very good job at disguising scratches and swirls. With a dark colored vehicle, these paint imperfections stand out a lot more, but just because you can't see them as well doesn't mean that they're not there. There are a couple deeper scratches on the car that probably are not going to fully come out, but other than that, we're just dealing with some mild swirl marks. Once polishing, we'd actually classify this paint as medium hard, which just simply means that it's going to take a little more time than an average paint to remove any paint defects. Getting all these swirl marks out is what's going to make the paint shiny. You want a perfectly smooth surface for the light to bounce off of, and that's really what gives it that deep gloss. We want to remove all these surface imperfections we can without jeopardizing the integrity of the clear coat. That's why we can't remove some of these deeper scratches. If you remove too much of this clear coat, you're actually going to end up with a dull spot, or what we detailers call as a burn mark. So Tadas and Edgar are going to start with the first step of polishing with a cutting compound to remove the bigger defects. Now, this is a slow, tedious process of working in small sections and passing over the surface with a machine. After each section, they're going to wipe off the residue, they inspect the results, and hopefully it's what they're looking for. It's common to go over these sections multiple times to get all the defects out of the clear coat. On the back taillight, it was really easy to see exactly what we're talking about here. Visually, you can see all the imperfections. We even took out a small little microscope that we have so you can better see what's going on in this process. We took the back taillight and we put a piece of tape down the middle, and we corrected just half the taillight so you can see the dramatic improvement we made on the surface. The second step of the correction process is to refine the paint and take out any of the haze or the micro marring that came from the cutting process. For this, we're going to use a softer foam pad and a light polish. The light polish we're actually using is Modesta's primer polish. It's going to refine the surface, and it's going to get it ready for the Modesta coating. Together, it took these two guys about 12 hours to get this paint to a near perfect condition. we actually sprayed the first layer of Modesta BCO6 on all the painted surfaces, and then we baked it with the RR lamp. We're gonna let this sit overnight. We'll come back tomorrow and put the second layer of coating on the paint, and then we gotta coat the rest of the exterior surfaces too. The final day for this BMW Z8 is here. We've put a lot of work and a lot of love into this vehicle. We still have some coating to apply. We're not done yet. But today is the day that we finally get to see the end results and all the hard work we put into this car. We started the day off by coating all the glass. For this, we use a product called Glassparency. This is going to strengthen the glass and it gives it a layer that's very hydrophobic. Not that this car is ever going to see the rain, but if it does, water's not going to stand a chance. The painted surfaces are going to get a layer of Modesta BCO5. This is Modesta's flagship coating. It's going to enhance the paint and it's going to protect the vehicle for many, many years. All the exterior trim is going to get coated, the tailpipes are going to get cleaned and then coated, all the door jambs under the hood and trunk jambs will all be coated. The grille is actually plastic, so we're going to get that coated too. It's nice to be done with the car, to stand back and just take a look at the results and the hard work that we put in. We put in just over 84 hours into this car, and knowing that every bolt head, every knob, every little part and every little piece was clean and as shiny as possible and protected to the max, is just a great feeling. This is a piece of history. They're never going to make this car again, and to know that we did something to preserve this car and extend the life, to keep this car looking as new as long as possible, it was a good feeling.